And now, John, it's your turn. Let's find out more about our 2013 Outstanding Philanthropist, Dr. John Hussman.
We are proud to present Dr. John P. Hussman as the 2013 AFP Outstanding Philanthropist of the Year.
The soul must be loved as it is. And that's the vision behind this Center for Adults with Autism.
I'm a parent of a young person with autism like John Hussman, and in fact there are many of us in this field that have children on the spectrum. And at the Hussman Center, over 40% of our instructors are on the spectrum. So for us, it is a deeply personal journey.
The Lighthouse is a homeless prevention support center. We are engaged in the mission of breaking the cycle of homelessness.
For the last 10 years, Dr. Hussman has provided aid to the refugee children of the Thai-Burmese border. These children are not accepted in the Thai schools and are prone to abduction and slavery. He helps and supports these children with food and education and a hope for a better future.
The Howard County Public School System is in between Baltimore and Washington, and we have about 52,000 students, and about 5,000 of those students have IEPs or special needs.
Dr. Hussman has provided essential funding to establish the Hussman Institute for Human Genomics at the University of Miami, the Hussman Center for Adults with Autism at Towson University, and programs on communication and inclusion at Syracuse University. Dr. Hussman is among the largest donors in global health projects through his philanthropic work through the Carter Center.
Dr. Hussman believes and believed in our vision and our potential here.
We have a variety of programs that are available for adults with autism to take, such as art. We have a comedy workshop. We have programs that build vocational and life skills in young adults with autism.
He's been a partner in raising the bar for inclusive education in our county.
Dr. Hussman has supported our efforts as a parent, as a giver and a philanthropist, as a supporter in the community, and as an advocate.
John Hussman bridges those communities so beautifully in terms of integrity of who he is. He's always the same in whatever circle he is in, and he's engaged in what other people need, always.
Dr. Hussman supports our efforts through, I think, mostly his vision. He has a vision for what inclusive education needs to look like, and he has shared that vision with us.
I think that is his MO in general, looking for what's right in people instead of looking for what might be labeled as wrong.
He's so natural and wonderful in interacting with the adults on the spectrum who are here. He believes in them and he believes in us. And that in itself is a phenomenal gift. So I would thank him for that.
John, I really want to say thank you for all of your support, and I know you're still there and you'll still be working with us and supporting us, but what you've done for us over the years in Howard County is very special and doesn't happen in most places. So I'm so appreciative as a person and as a leader that we've been able to partner, and I hope this continues on behalf of our kids in Howard County. So thank you.
John, working with you has been an extraordinary privilege. It's been filled with laughter and joy and heartfelt focus on mission. I can't imagine that we could have done what we are doing at the Lighthouse without you, and it wouldn't have been as much fun without you or done with as much passion without you being involved, and we are so grateful and filled with love for you.
Rosa and I extend our heartfelt congratulations to Dr. John Hussman. We were delighted to hear he would receive the award for 2013 Outstanding Philanthropist from the Maryland chapter of the Association of Fundraising Professionals. John and his wife, Terry, have been tremendous supporters of the work of the Carter Center through the John P. Hussman Foundation. I'm continually inspired by their commitment to helping people overcome debilitating diseases, poverty, and discrimination. The Foundation's programs have a direct, measurable impact, and they support effective models that can be replicated by others. Since 2007, John and Terry have been our partners in the global effort to eradicate guinea worm disease and provide bed nets to prevent malaria in Ethiopia. They also have enabled the Carter Center to distribute medicine to control schistosomiasis in Nigeria and train health workers to carry out surgeries for trachoma in Niger and Sudan. Most recently, the Hussmans provided critical support to Rosa's new mental health program in Liberia. Their challenge grant helped to inspire individuals, foundations, and corporations to contribute as well. Thanks to the Hussmans, the Carter Center is working with the Liberian Ministry of Health and Social Welfare to improve the quality of life for individuals affected by mental illness. John and Terry's grant-making has shed light on issues that are so often overlooked. They inspire others to help people who are living in poor and remote communities around the world with little or no access to health care. Rosa and I have seen firsthand how their support makes a difference in the lives of many people. We're thankful for their partnership in the effort to improve global health and proud of John for this well-deserved award. Thank you.
We honor Dr. Hussman for his generosity and great works. Through his giving and creating opportunities for better health, autism awareness, and autism research in the United States and around the world, Dr. John P. Hussman is improving people's lives. Thank you, Dr. Hussman, for all you are doing to make our lives better.
Well, I'm impressed. How about you? John, we're here on this earth for one reason, to make a mark. How many of us have ever been introduced by a president before? Make that 2. Let's bring up the president of Towson University, Marvin Leschke, to talk more about the great Dr. Hussman. Doctor.
John Hussman is a gentleman, and John Hussman is a gentleman with a quiet soul, a brilliant mind, and a large heart. He is a tireless advocate for human rights and for all things that are right. He is a man who works to tie together research and practice, knowledge and action. He thrives on service, giving, and the integrity of the human condition. He prefers to give quietly, often anonymously, so who knows how many lives he has touched. It is difficult to talk about John without talking about Terry. The love they share for each other, for their family, and for the entire world community is contagious to all of us who know them. At Towson, we are honored to have John and Terry as major donors of their resources, their time, and their wisdom to our passion, the Center for Adults with Autism, which bears their name. John Hussman stands for the dignity of the individual, and as John so eloquently has said, the soul must be loved as it is, and oh my goodness, the beauty of the Hussman soul. Any one of these organizations touched by the Hussmans could be standing here to honor John's transformative philanthropy. I am honored to represent all of us. It is with humility, gratitude, deep respect, and oh yes, love, that on behalf of the Maryland chapter of the Association of Fundraising Professionals, John, I present you as the 2013 Outstanding Philanthropist of the Year.
They got Jimmy. You know, that was overwhelming. Many of us are overwhelmed by our smallness in the face of so much need in the world, and we're tempted to ask, like the child looking at countless starfish washed along the beach, what difference could we possibly make? But then we gain our hope, and even carrying just one starfish back into the water, we remind ourselves, for that one, it made all the difference in the world. In the face of so much need and with limited resources, we focus much of our research at the Hussman Foundation on what we call corners and forks. The corners are the edges between nothing and something, where a small amount of help can change or even save a life. For instance, a $35 surgery and a dose of antibiotics can help to prevent a lifetime of blindness from trachoma. The forks are points in a person's life where just a little nudge can help determine which direction that person's life takes. So, for example, a few $100s to keep a child in school along the Thai-Burma border can help to protect them from what might be a lifetime of trafficking. And if we can intervene at corners and forks, our smallness matters less. But as we work to address so many immediate needs, we should never give up on the possibility of deeper, even radical change. And whether the concern is autism or homelessness or hunger or the effort to achieve peace, that kind of change requires one thing above all, and that is our refusal to see others as something outside of ourselves. I think we can only hope to change the world when we take on the challenges of others as if they were our own, and when we stop thinking our own thoughts long enough to see the world from someone else's perspective. In the words of Helen Keller, what a blind person needs is not a teacher, but another self. There's a story I often tell about my son, JP, who has autism. When he was in elementary school, he used to love to kick his shoes off in class. And you could always tell whether a teacher saw the world from his eyes or not by how the shoes came home. Because if they understood him, the shoes would come home loosely tied so he could slip them off during class and slip them on during the hallways. But if the teacher didn't see the world through his eyes, those shoes would come home in double and triple knots and sailor's hitches, and you'd need a Boy Scout manual to release them. In our autism work, we've been blessed to have partners who understand that it isn't enough to provide services or seek therapies or change someone else's behavior. Finding ways to improve the lives of people with autism is critical. But our goal isn't a world without autism, or a world where the people with autism do all the changing. It's a world where we change as well, where we embrace people with autism as they are, where we presume their competence, where we make adaptations to their needs, and where we treat them as equals. This award says an enormous amount about the partners we work with, so I'd like to say a few things about them. In autism, we are grateful to the Hussman Center for Adults with Autism at Towson University and the amazing people who work there, to the Institute for Communication and Inclusion at Syracuse University, who are so adamant about that presumption of competence, to the Howard County Autism Society and Beth Benavides, who is now working with us, to the Howard County Public School System. When we hear adults with autism at the Hussman Center say, you know, this is the only place in the world that I've ever felt truly loved and understood, we're reminded about how much people with autism long to be accepted, but we're also reminded about how much work remains to be done. In research, I'm particularly grateful to my scientific collaborators, Margaret Perachik-Vance and Jeff Vance at the Hussman Institute for Human Genomics at Miami, and to Jean Blatt, who is now at the Hussman Institute for Autism, which will be in a Merit property. So thank you very much, Merit. Not only have these collaborations brought us closer to an understanding of autism, but all of them took the leap, even a decade ago, of treating me as a fellow scientist, even though I had completely the wrong degree. In international work, my mentor, my role model in faith and charity and life, Jimmy Carter, the staff at the Carter Center, and Therese Coet at the Hussman Foundation have all been incredibly creative in finding ways to improve lives in the most challenging places. You know, like a fragile thread becomes stronger when it's woven among others. Creating sustainable change in fragile places comes by strengthening communities, creating connections between organizations and people and groups so knowledge can be shared, respecting cultural differences, putting human rights first, and honoring the intelligence and resourcefulness of even the most poor and vulnerable people on the face of the earth. In the work to end the cycle of homelessness, I can't imagine better partners than Elizabeth Kinney and Pam Seamer at the Annapolis Lighthouse. Not only because neither of them seem to have learned the word impossible at any point in their education, but because they understand that a bed and a meal are not enough. In the words of Martin Luther King, true compassion is more than flipping a coin at a beggar. It comes to see that an edifice that produces beggars needs restructuring. You know, when people walk in the door of the lighthouse for the first time, the first thing the staff does is let that person tell their story, because we can only truly help if we understand from somebody else's eyes. And often they respond, you know, in all these years, nobody ever asked. We need to ask, because the ability to take on suffering of others as our own, to imagine the world from their perspective, and to be, as Helen Keller put it, another self to them. All of these are among the qualities that are unique to humanity. And so the challenges may be endless, but much of what is truly beautiful about humanity comes from the decision, day after day, and the hope to face those challenges together. My friend and teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Buddhist monk, puts it this way: a lotus flower doesn't grow on a slab of marble. A lotus flower grows in the mud. It needs the mud. No mud, no lotus. So thank you to all of the members of the AFP and everybody here who makes that decision every day to change the world for someone else and carry the hope that surrounded by mud, another flower can bloom. Thank you.